Hello, friends. If you are watching this, I am guessing that you need to redo your infographic or do it if it's the first time. Now, listen, if you did your infographic and it is in downloaded and you have it done already from when we did the book, when we did the infographics connected to your book, please just turn that one in. You do not have to start from scratch unless you just don't have one. Okay, if you don't have one, however, then you're going to do an infographic that is connected to your Afghanistan topic. So if your topic was about women in Afghanistan, you could present what it's like life struggles of women in Afghanistan, or 5 things you need to know about what it's like to be a woman in Afghanistan, or top 5 things that make life tough for women in Afghanistan. If you're doing the children of Afghanistan, what is it that you put in your essay that you can capture in an infographic about children in Afghanistan? If you did why the US troops needed to stay or go, then present some of the information about what has happened as a result. So basically, you're creating your essay, but in small little snippets. You don't necessarily have to have quotes because things need to be short and bite sized for people to see and move on quickly. Now, here I've got some suggestions. I don't know if some of these are going to work for the Afghanistan topic. So it might not line up exactly, but you want to present information about Afghanistan. Most people do not know what you now know. You have read the book, The Breadwinner, so you have information from that. You have done tons of research, so open up your research notebook and use that as a basis for completing this assignment. Things that you should have a main title for your infographic. You should have eye-catching sections for section headings. You should have a minimum of 3 colors. If it's just 2 colors, it might be kind of boring. Unless you go with a monochromatic and you have colors in the same color family, then that always looks nice. You should have some kind of a graph or a chart. And when you are on the creator of the infographic, when you go on to Venngage or Canva or Pictochart, depending on which one you choose to use, then you can create and insert a chart or a graph. And then you should have a minimum of 4 graphic. Those are little tiny plain graphics that go along with what you're saying. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So in this one, we have graphics that go along with what's happening. So the title is games, and then there's tiny graphics that go along with the idea of games. Here you have health, and so you have different graphics, different little icons that go along with the idea of health. So let's say you talk about things you didn't know about women in Afghanistan, and you want to talk about how they travel and they're required to have a chaperone. Maybe you've got like a little bus sign or a walking sign or pedestrian sign. If you're talking about education and what they have and don't have, you could do a little book with a circle with a slash through it. If you are talking about how they have to dress, then you could maybe have a little icon with some sort of a dress or outfit on it, and then give us some details about what are the requirements under Taliban rule for the women in Afghanistan. If you're talking about children and the struggles that they face, you might have a heading, struggles that children face, then a little descriptor down here to talk about how life in Afghanistan is really tough for children. And then your icons would match. So if you're talking about marriage or child soldiers, the icon next to being a child soldier would probably be a gun or a military uniform of some sort. If you're talking about marriage, maybe you have the 2 little rings, you have a bride and a groom. So those are ways you have to make sure that your graphics match the text. A lot of times when we get into the templates in Venngage, in Canva, and they're set up and we're editing them, I've seen students leave the graphics that go with the template, that go with the stock generated infographic, and then it doesn't match what they're talking about, and so they lose points. You want to make sure that the graphics match the information that you're presenting. Now, in this packet, which is available both online and on paper, it goes over all these different points. So if you are a learner who learns by looking and reading, then this is going to be a really great resource for you. This talks about how the numbers, the big bold numbers, are part of the actual information, and almost like are the leading part of this sentence. For example, 6 straight years with growth in music sales. 6 is part of this sentence, but it's bold, and so it makes us look at that. Next, here are some examples of keeping it brief, how you can take a paragraph and shorten it to just a bullet point or just some lines. And that's a great resource as well. Again, this goes over the different things. And lastly, one of the things that I saw people slip on during the last infographic when they turned in is they did not give credit where credit is due. Please make sure that you are telling the reader where they can go for more information. So make sure that you are saying this information came from this website or these websites. That's where you can go to find out the full story. Okay, so if you quoted from the Taliban Women Tell All Taliban article, you're going to want to put that down there. If you quoted from 3 different places, put the 3 different places on there as a, hey, if you want to know more about this topic, here's where you go for a fuller version. All right, this was the quick version of the infographic project. I will be available to talk about it in class, but time is very short. If you have more questions and I don't answer them in class and you send the questions to me in Schoology, I can record another quick video just like this one that can answer some of your questions. All righty, happy infographic making.